Every fight, every tear, every night I cried to you. You were sending it all to her.
Zara, I can explain. It is not what you think. Please, just...
The camera saw you, Hadiza. The camera saw you in my house, alone, going through my things, while I was at the hospital with my son. 22 years. I called you my sister. 22 years. Get out of my house.
The morning Zara's world cracked open was an ordinary Tuesday in Maitama, Abuja. The kind of morning where the generator was humming, the gateman was sweeping, and her husband Rashid had already left for the office before she opened her eyes. She was standing in her kitchen making tea when her phone buzzed. It was a notification from the new security system Rashid had installed 3 weeks earlier without telling her why. She had teased him about it, called him paranoid. He had only smiled and said, "A man protects what he loves." The notification was a motion alert, timestamped from 11 days ago, a Thursday. The same Thursday Zara had spent 7 hours at Gaki Hospital with her son Idris, who had collapsed at school with a fever that terrified her. She pressed play. And there was Hadiza, moving through Zara's living room with the quiet, practiced ease of someone who had done it before. Opening drawers, photographing documents on the dining table, standing in the bedroom doorway for a long time before stepping inside. Zara watched the 1 minute and 43-second video 3 times. Then she sat down on the kitchen floor, still holding her mug, and did not move for a very long time. Because Hadiza was not just her best friend. Hadiza was the person she had called from that same hospital while Idris slept with a drip in his small arm. The person who said, "I beg rest, I am praying for you." The person who showed up the next morning with food and sat beside her and held her hand. While the footage of what she had done the day before sat quietly in a cloud server waiting to be found. People in Kano said Zara and Hadiza were born to be friends. They had grown up 3 compounds apart in Nasarawa GRA, gone to the same primary school, fought over the same pencil colors, shared the same uniform when one of them forgot theirs. When Zara's mother died during her final year in secondary school, it was 12-year-old Hadiza who sat outside the bathroom door and talked to her through the wood until she stopped crying. When Hadiza's father lost his business and her family moved to a smaller house, Zara packed her own school bag with food every day for 3 months without saying a word about it to anyone. They went to different universities, Zara to Ahmadu Bello, Hadiza to Abuja, but they never lost each other. They spoke every day. They attended each other's introductions, sat in each other's wedding trains, named each other as next of kin on forms that required someone who was not blood but was everything blood should be. When Zara married Rashid Abdullahi and moved into the large house in Maitama with the marble floors and the garden Idris loved to run through, Hadiza was the only friend she kept from before. The others had drifted or changed or chosen sides in arguments that no longer mattered. But Hadiza stayed every Sunday afternoon, every Wednesday call, every birthday remembered without a reminder. Zara had looked at that loyalty for 22 years and called it love. She did not yet know what it actually was. No marriage is perfect behind closed doors. Zara and Rashid had a good life, a genuinely good one, but they had their seasons. The year Rashid's business partner defrauded him, and he came home angry for 8 months and took it out in silences that filled every room. The period after Idris was born, when Zara felt invisible and Rashid felt overwhelmed, and neither of them knew how to say it out loud. The argument about his mother that they had 3 times and never fully resolved. Zara told Hadiza everything. Not because she was foolish, because that is what you do with a sister. You open the doors you keep locked for everyone else. You let her see the rooms you are ashamed of. You trust that what enters the friendship stays in the friendship. My sister, talk to your husband though. Rashid is a good man. You people just need to communicate better. You are right, Zara would agree. She did not know that within hours of those conversations, a carefully edited version of everything she said was making its way to Alhaja Ramatu Abdullahi, Rashid's mother, the woman who had never fully accepted Zara, the woman who sat at the introduction with a smile that never reached her eyes and had spent the years since looking for a reason, any reason to have her son choose differently. Hadiza had found Alhaja Ramatu on her own. Nobody sent her. She had seen an opportunity the way certain people always see opportunities. Not with greed exactly, but with a cold calculation dressed up as loyalty. Alhaja Ramatu had connections, money, influence, a son with a business that needed the right partnerships. And Hadiza had something Alhaja Ramatu desperately needed. Access. The kind of access only a best friend has. Every Sunday Hadiza came, she ate at Zara's table. She complimented the food, she played with Idris, she sat with Rashid and laughed at his jokes and told him he was a good husband when Zara was not in the room. She helped Zara wash dishes and asked the right questions at the right moments, the gentle ones that opened doors without appearing to push. Is everything okay between you and Rashid? You seem tired. Did his mother say something again? I noticed you were quiet on the phone. You deserve so much better than what you are carrying alone, my sister. And Zara, who had no reason to doubt the person who had sat outside her bathroom door at 12 years old, answered every question honestly, completely, without holding back a single thing. The information moved in one direction like a slow, invisible current, from Zara's living room to Hadiza's phone to Alhaja Ramatu's ear. The old woman began appearing more frequently, dropping by unannounced, making comments to Rashid that planted seeds of doubt disguised as concern. That wife of yours seems unhappy. Is she coping? Some women are not built for this kind of life. Rashid began coming home quieter, looking at Zara sometimes like he was trying to solve a problem he did not fully understand. She noticed it. She talked to Hadiza about it. Hadiza listened carefully and took notes. Idris collapsed on a Thursday. He was in his primary 2 class at his school in Wuse when his teacher called Zara at 10:47 a.m. in the morning. By 11:15, she was in a taxi with her son burning in her arms, her own hands shaking as she called Rashid, who was in a meeting in Port Harcourt and could not get a flight until evening. She called Hadiza from the hospital waiting room. He's okay, Hadiza said immediately. Children get fevers. Idris is strong. I am praying for you. Just breathe. I'm scared, Zara said. I know, but God is there. Rest. Call me when the doctor comes. Zara rested. The doctor came. Idris slept with a drip in his arm and his small chest rising and falling while his mother watched him and counted every breath. Rashid arrived at 8 p.m. and they held each other in that hospital room while their son slept and nothing else existed. They did not know that at that same hour, on that same Thursday, a woman in a green dress was walking through their home in Maitama with a spare key she had never been told to return, opening drawers in the home office, photographing the documents on the dining table that Rashid had left out, financial papers, a business proposal, correspondence with a Dubai partner whose name Alhaja Ramatu had been asking about for months. The camera saw all of it. The camera with its small red light in the corner of the ceiling that Rashid had installed because something in his gut had been telling him for weeks that something in his home was not right. He had not told Zara. He had not wanted to worry her. He had been right to trust his gut. Zara did not call Hadiza immediately. She sat with the video for 2 days. She watched it until she had memorized every second of it. She watched Hadiza move through her home, with a familiarity that turned her stomach because it was real familiarity, earned over 22 years of Sundays and secrets and shared grief. She checked the timestamps against her own records. She checked her call logs. She found 5 other motion alerts she had dismissed as glitches in the weeks before. She opened them one by one. Hadiza, 3 times, always on days Zara was not home, always in rooms that held things worth knowing. Then she called Rashid. She played him the video without saying a word first. She watched his face go through 5 different things in 30 seconds. Then she showed him the others. He sat quietly for a very long time. She has been talking to my mother. Not a question. Yes, Zara said. For how long? I think since the beginning. Rashid looked at his wife, at the woman he had almost allowed doubt to creep into his heart, about the woman his mother had spent months quietly dismantling, and something settled in his eyes, something clear and final. "Call her," he said. "Bring her here." Hadiza arrived on a Sunday. As always, she came through the gate smiling, carrying a bag of chin-chin for Idris, calling out Zara's name with the warmth of someone who had nothing to hide. Zara was standing in the living room when she walked in, still, quiet, phone in hand. The smile on Hadiza's face lasted exactly 3 seconds after she saw Zara's eyes. "Every fight, every tear, every night I cried to you, you were sending it all to her." "Zara, I can explain. It is not what..." "The camera saw you, Hadiza. The camera saw you in my house, alone, going through my things while I was in the hospital with my son." The chin-chin bag slipped from Hadiza's hand. She did not pick it up. 22 years, Zara said, and her voice broke on the last syllable, just once, just for a moment, before it went cold and flat and final. Hadiza began to cry, real tears, pouring fast, hands shaking. "I am sorry, I am so sorry. She approached me and It started small. I never meant for it to go this far. You have to believe me." "It started small," Zara repeated softly, as if not talking to Hadiza but to something somewhere deep inside. "It always starts small." Tasting the words. "Okay." She walked to the door and opened it. "Get out of my house." Hadiza stepped there with tears falling and the chin-chin on the floor and 22 years dissolving in the air between them. She looked at Zara's face, really looked, and understood that no amount of words would open what had just closed. She picked up nothing. She walked out. Zara closed the door quietly, not with anger, with the careful, deliberate peace of someone who has just removed something dangerous from their home and can finally breathe. Alhaja Ramatu lost the information source she had relied on for years. Without Hadiza feeding her the internal details of her son's marriage, her campaign of quiet interference had no fuel. Rashid sat with his mother and had the conversation he should have had years earlier. Direct, respectful, and immovable. He loved his mother. He had chosen his wife. Those two things would coexist peacefully or not at all. The choice was hers. Alhaja Ramatu, faced with losing her son completely, chose peace. It was a brittle peace at first, full of things unsaid, but it was peace. Hadiza lost more than a friendship. The connections she had built through Alhaja Ramatu evaporated the moment Rashid made clear that he knew everything and that anyone who had walked against his wife was no longer welcome in any space his name opened. She lost 3 professional opportunities in 6 months, each one tracing quietly back to doors that had closed. She called Hadiza 17 times over the following months. Zara never blocked the number. She simply never answered. There was one text message. One. Zara typed it on a quiet afternoon while Idris slept and Rashid was in the garden. "I do not hate you, Hadiza. Hatred is too heavy to carry. But a house that has been broken into does not leave its doors open after. I wish you peace. I wish you the kind of friend you were supposed to be to me. Find her for someone else." She sent it. She put her phone down. She never looked for a reply. Some lessons arrive loudly, with shouting and broken plates and doors slammed hard enough to shake the walls. Those lessons you remember because they hurt in obvious ways. But the lessons that change you permanently, that rearrange something deep and quiet inside you, those ones arrive on an ordinary Tuesday morning in a kitchen in Maitama, in a 1 minute and 43-second video that shows you the face of betrayal wearing your favorite person's smile. Zara learned that access is sacred, that the person you allow into your home, into your fights, into your fears, into your 3 a.m. phone calls, that person carries more power over your life than any enemy ever could. Because enemies, you guard yourself against. It is the friend you never guard yourself against. It is the friend who knows exactly where you keep the things that matter most. She learned that loyalty that has a price was never loyalty. It was an investment, and every investment expects a return. And she learned the hardest lesson, the one she sat with longest, that losing a false friend is not a loss at all. It only feels like one because you are mourning someone who never fully existed. You are grieving the version of them you believed in. The real person was always doing something else entirely. The day she understood that, she stopped grieving and she started rebuilding with her husband, with her son, with the small and careful circle of people who had proven over time that their love did not require an audience or a reward. Hadiza had given her something after all. Not loyalty, not friendship, but clarity so sharp and so permanent that Zara would spend the rest of her life grateful for it. Some people are not sent to walk with you. They are sent to teach you who deserves to walk with you. If this story moved you, if you have ever trusted the wrong person with the right parts of you, drop a peace sign in the comments right now. And if you know someone carrying a friendship that no longer feels safe, share this story with them today. Sometimes, people need to see the truth in someone else's story before they can face it in their own. Don't forget to subscribe to Gracious Folktales for powerful African stories every week. Stories that heal, stories that warn, and stories that remind you that God sees everything, even when nobody else does. Like this video, share it, and come back next time, because the next story will shake you even more than this one. Gracious Folktales, where every story has a purpose.